Noakes has been a huge part of my life. Almost 3/4 of my life I've spent with Noakes, initially as a junior partner through to where the company is today. I've watched it grow and I've become very proud of the fact that we've become an iconic part of Sydney Harbour. Noakes is iconic to Sydney. It's not just a timeline, it's the evolution. The evolution of what's happened to Sydney Harbour from pretty much a grubby working port through to what it is today. And I wake up each day now not really going to work as a chore. When I was building the company there was lots of trials and tribulations, but now it's really about preservation. It's about preservation of Noakes. It's an iconic part of Sydney Harbour, and I want to see for another quarter of a century this company go on to continue to thrive. We've been on the harbour now for 36 years. We've been in the Berries Bay site for 25 years. So to continue on with that, we're now looking for another 30 years. Only a handful of boatyards left, only a handful of ferry boat companies still operating other than the major player. I believe it's very important to maintain not just the history, but the legacy of going forward, to be able to maintain the fleet of boats that actually ply the harbour.
And then this piece through over the top here. So it's all strong. It's probably stronger than the day that it was made.
Not only does recreational, where people get their enjoyment out of going sailing or motorboating, but it's really a case of the commercial traffic that needs to be maintained. And without that skill set, there's no way you can do it. The boats we service at Noakes are various, from grey boats, as we call them, Royal Australian Navy. The New South Wales Water Police, we have a contract for 12 years to look after that fleet. We have a 24/7 emergency call-out. This site in particular has in its development consent that we can take on emergency work. We also have an emergency response tug which we own ourselves, so there's offshore recoveries to do. We can be involved in that process as well. So there's another level of training that's required of that. We also have historic ferries. The Australian National Maritime Museum are one of our customers as well. Unfortunately, I love historic boats. It's sort of my downfall, really. But to maintain the number of historic boats we got, it's really a case that you need the continuity, as I say, economically, of the other contracts that you know what you're doing next month and next week. So with those contracts in place, which is Water Police and Defence, we then can pour money back into what I love doing, which is working on all these old timber boats. The role that Noakes plays in the maintenance of Sydney Harbour's history and for the future is really in our training. One of the few companies that's taken on a vast number of apprentices, 8 shipwright apprentices this year, and a mixture of mature age as well as young apprentices, which is a great balance. We need apprentices, we need skills training in Australia. It's really a case of eventually, if people stop learning how to work with their hands, there's going to be no one left to actually fix things. Over the years we've found having charter vessels here at 2 a.m. has been problematic for the residents. So the way to better maximise the usage of our site, we've seen to remove 2 jetties and to put the dock hard up against our hard stand. I believe things vastly improve for the neighbours with the dock. It improves because it gives us the opportunity to put in more environmental restrictions on ourselves which aren't in place currently, and that we're in discussion with the EPA about. The EPA are concerned about our relationship with the residents, which we've enjoyed over 25 years, a close relationship. Since the discussion of the dock, there's been some more concerns about the site and the microscope going on the site. Now, we pretty much welcome that because, again, we want to be here for the long haul, not just for another week. The way I feel about people objecting, it's like, you know, I had an old man that went to a couple of wars fighting for democracy. So it's really a case that I'm very keen to work with the community and voice out their concerns. I've spent my life on the harbour and I have seen it evolve. And now that I'm moving boats around the harbour constantly, I'm now looking at the landscape differently and just wondering exactly what it would be like without one boat here. Boating's ingrained in a lot of our DNAs. We are an island. We did have people arrive here by boat, and I believe boating will be part of our culture. So I can't see it being removed completely, but there obviously is a balance between aesthetics, people being able to commute, people being able to enjoy the water. I wish to work with those people and just see how their religion, if you like, differs to mine, and try and be conciliatory and understanding. That's really what I've asked for. I want to sit down, work through the points, work through the concerns, but the main thing is that to be proud of Sydney's iconic boatyard of Noakes and to continue for the next generation is what I believe we all need to work on.